Hi there, I'm Karen Woodard, and this is Kelly. You've probably heard me speak about Kelly, or if we've been in phone conferences, you've heard Kelly in the background. And Kelly is my inspiration for this program called 6 Sales Lessons from a Beagle. So we're going to get started here. Okay, Kelly, your time to go. So Kelly, every day, by the way, and she's also referred affectionately to Kelly Belly, Princesa de Ixtapa, Sister Sue, Sweetie Girl. You refer to your pets with all these names, right? You don't? Okay. Anyway, if you hear me in this program refer to her by different names, that's what's going on. But let's go back to what happens. I'm going to share a day in the life of Kelly with you. And in this day in the life of Kelly, there are 6 very clear lessons. I want to see if you can pick them out as I describe what the day is. After we describe what the day is, we'll go over what those are. So every day, without fail, Kelly wakes me in the morning, about 5:30. She comes to the side of my bed and she puts 2 paws on the bed. And she looks at me with the most joyful expression and just wants to be loved. What she really wants is breakfast. But she really wants to be loved and touched and start her day that way. Now, I will say that sometimes, depending on what's going on in my day, I'll get up at 5:30 and give her breakfast. But most of the time, I'll just reach over and scratch her behind the ears and say, Kelly, go back to bed. And we usually end up having breakfast around 6:30 in the morning. So for Kelly, breakfast is around 6:30 in the morning. You have to know she gets 4 or 5 walks a day. She gets a couple treats a day. And then supper time for her is around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. However, she starts working it pretty early. So let's go back to how we start our day. So she'll come back. She'll come back around 6:30 when after I say, go back to bed, Kelly, go back to sleep. She'll come back and she'll start over again. She puts her 2 paws on the bed. She stretches her head back. And then she comes back around. She wants a little bit of a kiss or she wants some nuggies behind the ears. And so what happens is at this point, she's becoming a little bit more insistent with her message. So what'll happen then is I'll get up and she starts her antics. She's twirling and she's swirling and she's running down the stairs and she cannot wait because she knows when I get out of bed, that means we're going to the kitchen. So we get down to the kitchen and I am trying to do everything I can to not trip over her and I'm giggling. It's such a joyful way to start the day. So she gets her breakfast. After breakfast, all she wants to do is maybe have a little bit of lovin', maybe go for a walk, and she's good. She's a happy, happy girl. So then what happens is around noontime, she knows that lunch is going to be happening between noon and 1. So every day without fail, she has a lunch date with my husband. She'll go upstairs because she knows he has yogurt for lunch, and she'll sit there very patiently and have lunch with him and be very affectionate and give him the paw as well, because she knows that she's going to get his yogurt container so she can lick whatever left inside. And then afterwards, she'll stay with him for a couple of minutes and give him more affection. And then immediately she'll run to my office and then she hangs out there for the rest of the day, snoozing, coming up, giving affection, touching base. She's very consistent, very systematic. Now around 2 o'clock is when she really starts to become very, very engaging. Now she's becoming very engaging. She comes over to my desk. She puts her paws on my arm. Now some of you who I've been in phone conferences with know this. You know that if we have a 2 o'clock phone conference, you're probably going to hear Kelly in the background. If we have a 3 o'clock phone conference, for sure you're going to hear Kelly in the background because she is now starting to remind me of certain things that she wants me to do. She's prompting my actions. So what happens is she'll be very affectionate, put her paws on my arm. She tries to get me to stop doing what I'm doing, and I'll just give her a little scratch behind the ears, and she's good with that. What she's really doing is she's setting me up for an early supper. She'd like to have her supper a little early. She knows that if she comes over and is very engaging, that she's going to get something that she wants. Well, I'm not going to give her an early supper, but I oftentimes will give her a little bit of a treat. So she'll go lay down and then she'll come back and her efforts will be amped up a little bit. In other words, if I'm on the phone, she knows that a little whimper will make me give her a treat because if I don't, a little whimper turns into that howl, that famous Beagle howl that I know some of you have heard. So what happens is she'll try this a couple of times. In the process, she gets a couple of treats. And then when it's around 3:30, 3:45, closer to her supper time, that's when she really amps it up. So she lets me know exactly what she wants. And at this point, I need to make sure that I do not have phone conferences because I'm going to get the arm grab, not just the two paws, but the arm grab where she's very insistent trying to say, come with me, it's supper time. Now, at this point, she's super affectionate and she has made her sale, aka getting supper early or getting supper around the time she's supposed to get it. Now, you may think that Kelly has me wrapped around her paw, and you would be right. She does. And the reality is that at this point, I am laughing again so hard. So you see, I'm laughing when I start my day. I'm laughing throughout the day because her antics are just so incredibly entertaining and so sincere. She's very clear about what she wants. So as I witness this every day, it's very, very clear to me that there are some simple sales concepts that we all can take from this story about Kelly. Let's talk about them. Number one, systems. Oh my gosh, Kelly has her system down cold. She is so consistent with her timing. In other words, she knows that she's not going to get supper at 2:30, but she's working it. She's trying to make it happen. She has her timing down. She knows exactly what she needs to do. She's incredibly consistent with everything that she does every day because she knows it works. So the question I have for you is, in your day, are you doing the things that you know work? And are you doing them systematically over and over again? As humans, we tire of these things. We give up on doing these things. And then we realize, holy schmoly, you know what? I'm not making as many sales as I used to, or I'm not getting in touch with as many people as I used to. So really take a look at what your systems are throughout the day, and are you implementing them consistently? Again, I want you to think about your selling conversations. Are you doing every component of your selling conversation? I don't mean to sound robotic, but are you using it as a system? Let's talk about point number 2 in Sales Lessons from a Beagle. Number 2 is unconditional. Oh my gosh. Kelly is my loving companion, whether she gets what she wants, whether I buy from her or not, so to speak. If she doesn't get her food, she's happy with noogies behind the ear, or a little pat on the head, or a little kiss, or some affection. She's happy with that. Now, are you unconditional with members and guests? In other words, if a prospect doesn't buy from you, does it change your demeanor? If you have been working with a member, perhaps, on purchasing non-dues revenue programs and they don't buy, do you give up? Do you just say, well, they're not going to do that? Or are you consistent? Do you consistently go back and try a different approach? If you're working with a member on creating guest referrals and it doesn't happen, do you assume that it never is going to happen and then you stop talking with that person? Unconditional means you will continue, you won't give up, you'll continue to be just as kind, just as friendly, just as nice, whether they buy or whether you get what you want from them or not. Number 3, patience. Oh my goodness. Kelly knows when to create urgency, when to amp up the message, and she knows when she can just be patient, come over and touch base with me and be patient, and then go back to her bed and snooze for a little while, because she's going to keep doing it. She's going to keep doing it, and she knows that by keeping her system intact and working it, she's going to get what she wants. So what is your patience level in the sales process? Do you push too hard? Do you push people away? On the other hand, we don't want to be too patient. Do you not create enough urgency? So really take a look at what you're doing. Are you trying to get people to buy before they are ready? Or do you know exactly when they're ready by the questions that you ask? Let's talk about number 4, the flip side of patience, which is urgency. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Kelly knows when she can amp up that message. She has her timing down because she knows her system. She follows it. Believe me, she follows it. So she knows when to amp up her message, when she can let that howl rip, or when it's just going to be a little whimper that gets my attention and tells me, okay, it's building, it's building. So my question for you is, do you create urgency in your presentations? When you are showing someone the club, do you create urgency so that people are at that point of being ready to act? Or do you not create any urgency, and so there's no reason for someone to say yes to you right now? Take a look at how that works in your sales presentations. Number 5, unrelenting. Just because I say, no, Kelly, because remember, I'll say, Kelly, go back to bed, or no, Kelly, not right now, or I might gently push Kelly away if I'm on a phone conference. That doesn't mean the game is over. She knows that. Do we know that? So Kelly figures out that if she just approaches me a little differently, and perhaps if she gives me something, comes back every few minutes and is not always asking for something, but gives me something like an incredibly loving noogie. Maybe she leans into me or wants me to she'll put her head on my lap or something like that. That is such a gift. She knows that puts me in a position to be where she wants me to be. I told you she's got me wrapped around her little paw, right? So the question is for you in your sales process, are you unrelenting? Do you give up too soon? Most people do. Most people, if they don't hear yes, 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 they assume it's no, 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 and it's not. So don't cut yourself short by that. Be unrelenting. Continue to follow up with people. The reality is that you cannot assume that just because someone is not returning your call or getting in touch with you, that they are not interested. There are a lot of other things that factor into our decisions. So what I want you to take a look at is when you are doing your unrelenting follow-up, are you doing it in a way that is annoying, that would make them say, no, Kelly, go away? Or are you doing it in a way that draws you closer to them because you're offering value in your follow-up? Think about what you say and what you do in your follow-up. And our final point, number 6, inspiring and cheery. Kelly is never aloof or distant. She doesn't get pouty. Instead, what she does is she always cheers me up, whether it's 5:30 in the morning or whether it's the middle of the afternoon, with her antics and her behavior and just her being. So I'm always happy to see her. Always happy to see her. She's my favorite thing in the day. So let me ask you, are you the kind of person that others are always happy to see because you make their day? Or are you the kind of person that, quite frankly, they don't really notice you because you don't shine or you don't offer any value to them in a conversation or any value in any interaction? We really have to be aware of what kind of influence do we have on other people to get what we want. So the simplicity of this video is that the sales process is not a complicated process. My goodness, so many sales lessons we can learn from dogs, right? Can't be that hard. So what I want to remind you of is sales success is really a matter of having something great to sell, obviously. It's a matter of talking to the right people. It's a matter of staying in touch. It's a matter of not giving up. It's a matter of having systems. It's a matter of being able to affect people and provide something to them that makes them want to come back to you. So I bet you probably picked out what those 6 lessons were in this video. But what I want you to do now is go back and see how you do with 6 sales lessons from a Beagle in real life. Thanks, Kelly, and thanks for listening.